what's your secret? You got the kind of vibe that leaves me speechless. It could be model multitasking genius. Yeah, you got it all.
So welcome to Breakthrough Conversations with Rhoda and Company, the podcast where we highlight leaders redefining what's possible. And today, I am beyond honored to host Chris Dyer. He's a widely recognized in the world for leading authority on company culture and high performance leadership. And Chris isn't just a speaker, he's a catalyst. And as a former CEO, he led companies consistently named Best Place to Work and authored bestsellers like The Power of Company Culture and Remote Work, recognized by Inc. magazine as the #1 culture speaker and creator of the evidence-based 7 Pillars of Amazing Culture. Chris picks apart the science behind trust, transparency, belonging, and performance. And in today's dynamic era, shaped by AI, as we know, AI is prominent, remote work and shifting values, leaders must transcend traditional frameworks and connect deeper with people. So let's welcome Chris Dyer to explore how intentional leadership builds culture that lasts. Welcome, Chris.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you. As I stated, I love your eyeglass. You're speaking to someone. I have over 100 pair of eyeglasses.
I have 100 too, but they're the same ones. So
I'll have to send you a picture of how you store yours. I store mine on a wall on these little noses, and it's like a wall of eyeglass art. So we are kindred spirits that way. So Chris, you've been ranked the #1 leadership speaker on culture. What was the turning point in your journey from CEO to culture expert?
Well, completely screwing it up, of course. I went and had a company and realized in 2009 when we hit a big recession that we were not ready to handle this, big problem in our work and the economy and all of that. And so as I looked around and I wanted to blame my people and I wanted them to be responsible for why we weren't adapting and adjusting and coming out of this better, I kept looking in the mirror and going, it's probably me. Like, this is probably the culture I created. And these are the people I hired. And these are the people that I trained. And so, it was very clear what the common denominator was. And so I realized I needed to be the one. If I was the one who screwed it up, I needed to be the one to fix it. And I don't know about you, but let's just say I wanted to go bake a cake. And I was like, how do I bake a chocolate cake? I would go and open up a recipe book. And I might ask a few people if they have a recipe. But there's a recipe. Yeah. Right? It's not going to take me very long to go and find a recipe and use that. When I said, I want to have the best company culture there is, what am I supposed to do? There wasn't a recipe.
There's nothing, right?
There were all of these good ideas. I think they were, if you went down a ladder, they were pretty low on the ladder of oh, you need to be positive, or you need to do this, or you need to listen. There were great things we should do, but there wasn't do these 7 things, and no matter what your culture is, if you do them right, you'll do well.
Right.
So there wasn't to start with 2 cups of flour and throw in an egg. There wasn't that. I couldn't find it anywhere, at least.
Right.
And so I decided I was going to study it, read it. I interviewed hundreds of people on my podcast. And I just kept hearing the same things from people doing it really well. And not hearing certain things from people that I was pretty clear they were not doing it very well. Right. And that's what kind of eventually I got to the point of, okay, this is the framework. We tried it. It worked phenomenally. And then we had universities study it and validate it. And then we took it to hundreds of other companies who went and did it. And so that's kind of where I am today. And it's a really long answer for I screwed it up. I had to figure it out. Now I know how to do it. So,
well, that's very astute of you and humble of you and self-aware to, first of all, look in the mirror and acknowledge. I'm going off script here, and another question resonates or comes to mind for me is who do you believe owns company culture?
The CEO. The CEO at the beginning owns the culture. And then every leader below them owns a piece of it, their piece of it, right? And then, we all have an impact and we all have an ability to make it better or make it worse.
Yes.
But listen, if you're like the cashier at Burger King, do you own culture? Of course you don't. Can you make it worse? Yeah. Can you make it better? Yeah. But like let's just say the store manager of that Burger
Right.
King, they own that culture inside of that building. And then, you go up on the chain, but ultimately it is the leader's job. Right. And so we have got to, I was in a room the other day of 300 CEOs. And I told them, according to Gallup, 33% of your employees are engaged.
Right. 33%.
33%. And I'm like, does everyone kind of think that's where you're at? And they all went, yeah. They're like, that's about where we're at. And I said, well, guess what? That means you suck.
Right.
I didn't say it exactly that way, but I was like, listen, if only a third of people like what you're doing, it's not very good.
Right.
You
That's not good. You're not getting the best out of them in the most.
So you own it. If you think that 33% is good enough for you, then enjoy mediocrity. But like for me, that wasn't good enough. I wanted my company to be the best place you were ever going to work in your entire career.
Yes. I love
That's the difference.
I want to hear more about what does that actually look like. Describe the best place, leveraging your 7 pillars, like integrate that into your description. I want to hear this best place because I've been looking for it.
Well, it kind of depends. Like, where do you want to start? Do you want to start at the beginning? Like, what are the building blocks?
Yeah, what are the building blocks? Yeah, what are the foundation?
All right, so let's start. I have 7 pillars. We can't do all 7 today, but let's start with transparency. Are you telling people everything they couldn't possibly be told? Are you offering up and allowing them to know and learn and see and read and hear everything possible? Now, there are a few things sometimes that are out of bounds, off limit, confidential. I get it. We can't tell everyone 100%. But most leaders don't tell their people jack squat.
Right.
And they're like, well, I don't have the time to explain it. I'm too busy. Do they even need to know that? Like, they don't even think they need to know that. So here's a building block. We took our profit and loss statement every single month, the summary, and we gave it to every single employee, thousands of people, every single independent contractor. Everyone got to know how much money we made, how much money we spent, where we spent that money. And we educated people on how to read a financial statement because it is not easy.
It isn't, right.
I was in business classes and it still took me a hot minute once I started looking at this thing, like, how am I supposed to read this and decipher this? It's not easy. And so we're giving people financial education. But what was really cool is they started asking us great questions. Like, why do we spend that money there? Okay, here's why. Okay, I understand why, but like, why do we have 2 vendors for this thing? And I go, I don't know. Why do we have 2 vendors there? Because like, we could have 1 vendor and probably get a discount, put all the money, all the volume into one person. And like, in a year of just telling people how we spend the money, explaining to them, answering their questions, we were 35% more profitable.
Wow. They took for me at least, I know that would make me feel a strong sense of ownership and belonging. First of all, you were transparent about those expenses, and then you listened to the questions they had, and you actually pondered those questions and took action.
Right.
Like, what was your employee engagement scores like? Did you do employee engagement scores on an annual basis?
Yeah, we did. And we noticed that as we did these things, our engagement scores went up and up and up and up and up and up, right? So it's sometimes they gave us great ideas. It was sometimes that we said, look, we spent $500,000 on employee benefits this year. And they're like, oh, you spent $500,000 on benefits for employees? Like, all they know, if you don't tell anybody, is that I get my little health plan and you're spending $300 on that or whatever the thing is. The story is the inside of their own head. But when they're looking at the P&L saying, the company makes this and you're spending that on us, right? And so they're like, okay, well, now I understand why, you know, if I'm asking for a 10-cent raise and we're like, listen, we can't do that right now. There's transparency. Listen, we've had 4 bad months here and we know we're going to come out of it, but this is not a good time for us to be give everyone raises. Like we need to take the extra money and go spend it on sales because we're not getting where we need to be. And people were like, okay, cool. I understand that. And then we have, you know, a year of really good, you know, everything. Okay, let's get everyone level set on pay and all that. So like we were just very transparent and had those conversations and talked to people. And then what we did is we took that P&L and we took the detail and we gave the detail to each team.
Wow.
So like operations would understand what was being spent inside of their department. Not the benefit stuff and all that, but like the real tactical thing. And then they would go find more ways to save money. But transparency is also like, are we sharing team goals to other teams? Are we sharing our personal goals on our team? Does everyone know what our big giant goal is for the company? Like, what is it that the CEO cares about and is trying, or what does the head of sales care about and is trying to drive us to? What does the head of customer service care about and trying to drive us to? Every month we talked about that on an all hands meeting and told them why it was important and what we were doing about it and where we were doing well and where we were failing and where we needed help and where we needed ideas. And so again, to your point about that ownership and all of that, it's so much easier to go, oh, I see a crack right there. I can feel that crack. I can feel that need. I know how to do that thing. Right? Instead of, no, do your job. Don't tell anybody anything. We're smarter than you. You know, we don't need any help. Well, you know, we don't need that.
Yeah,
right?
That's not a thriving culture, but what you've described is. So, Chris, is it true that your companies were named best places to work 15 times?
Yes.
Wow. So what leadership behaviors foster that level of recognition?
You know, we definitely, and this is another pillar, I definitely trained my leader. I had all my leaders go to this leadership training on appreciative inquiry, which is essentially positive psychology. It is, we trained our leaders to be first curious about what is working, what is good, where can we do more of what is good and what is working? Why are my top 2 salespeople doing so well? Why are my top 5 customer service people, why do they score so high? Like we train our leaders to be curious about that first.
Yes.
Not to be walking around being problem solvers and worrying about, well, why are these 2 salespeople at the bottom not doing well? Right?
Yes.
And so if we get curious about why my top 2 salespeople are amazing, then we figure out what they're doing and they can teach everybody else and we all get better and we all do, you know, the company meets their goals and all of that. And those 2 people that are sucking are either going to get better because they have the correct information, or they're going to go away because, or we're going to, you know, we're going to let them go either way because they're not the right fit. But at least we knew we trained them right. We gave them the right information, and if they can't get there, then they're the wrong person. 9 times out of 10, they left before we ever got to that point. They were told this is how to be successful. And if they wanted to be successful, they stood up. And if they didn't, they bowed out. And so that idea of positivity. So I would commonly ask a leader when I would have them on a meeting, when was the last time you caught someone doing the right thing? Not when was the last time you caught someone doing something wrong? Because it's easy to walk in a room or walk on a Zoom, get on a Zoom and be like, you know, catch someone doing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing. No. When I would go into a call on a Zoom, I would thank people and call them out for doing the behaviors that I want to see more of in those calls the next time. And I would ignore people I don't mean like pretend they didn't talk, but I mean, I wouldn't give any more attention as I could possibly not give to people who are doing the behaviors that I don't want.
Right.
And so what happens? Well, in those meetings, people shift. They're like, well, I want Chris's attention.
I want the recognition. Right.
I want the recognition. I want to be heard. I want my ideas heard. So, I see. I need to act this way. These three people act this way, and they get it. Their ideas and their attention. They make a shift in their behaviors.
Wow.
But if I put all my focus on those two people who are annoying me in the meeting, and I'm berating them, and I'm trying to change them, and I'm giving them attention, negative attention, but they're getting attention.
Right.
And they're going to continue doing those negative behaviors because they're at least getting attention out of me.
Right.
Even though it's not great and they don't really like it, but they're still getting my attention. Right.
Yes.
And then those three people who are doing it right are getting ignored. How is that working?
Right.
So that is a really big shift.
Yes.
You can get your leaders to think about what's working, rewarding the positive, and catching people doing the right thing, right? That shift in mindset is huge.
Yeah, it creates pockets of magic. It's like a domino effect. Yeah, you're the first and only CEO I've heard use the term appreciative inquiry. I learned all about that in my master's program. You're giving the vibe. I'm picking up, Chris, that you're a very human-centric leader. So given today's AI-driven environment and our hybrid or remote workforce, how must leaders evolve to preserve humanity in the workplace?
It's a huge question. So I'm going to give you my simplest answer, which is leaders need to shrink the loop. Now, let me explain what that means.
Okay.
I say, hey, I want to do something, and then we figure out how to do it, and we actually start doing it. That's a loop. If I say I need permission as an employee, I want to go do the thing for the client, but I need permission from someone. I can't close that loop until I get that permission from my boss, from IT, from wherever, right? With everything, more flexible work, more AI, more political, economic instability, all of these factors and things, and TikTok and technology and everything that's happening, right? That's just causing us to feel like the elephant just keeps sitting a little bit harder on our chest. If as leaders, we can empower people to make more decisions on their own, to empower them to be able to do that, they don't have to come back. If we can cut down on the amount of meetings that they're in, cut down on the emails that they're sending. I don't need you to CC everybody. I don't need you to be constantly trying to cover your ass all the time by having a meeting or having this 55 people on an email. How do we cut down that fear and all that by empowering people and showing them, I want you to make a decision. I know it's not always going to be perfect. If it's not right, we'll talk about it. We'll retrain, we'll refigure it out, and then go back. I'm not going to fire you because I want you to go make decisions. I want you to get these things done faster. Now, I need you to be highly communicative back to me of what happened so we can be on the same page. I'd rather have a meeting about what happened than have 5 freaking meetings about what we're going to maybe do. Go try it and then come back and we can make changes. And so that's shrinking the loop.
Shrinking the loop.
Right? So I need people to try AI more. Hey, can we all get on a call for 10 minutes? We're all going to, one person's going to tell us something that they've been using AI for. We're all going to go try it. Again, that's shrinking, right?
Yes.
Like, how do we do, because when we allow all these other factors to happen, the loops just keep on getting bigger and bigger. And then I would say the biggest complaints I hear from leaders, I'm in too many meetings. I don't have time to get my work done. And I hear from employees, I can't get anyone to tell me I had the permission to go do the thing.
So nothing gets done.
So on both ends, nothing's getting done. Everyone's spending their entire life at work in email and in meetings.
Yes.
That is like, you might as well just change your job title to the vice president of meetings and emails. Like this is right. And it's stupid.
It is.
Do we need some of that stuff? Sure. But like, we've got to find a way to cut it down.
Shrink the loop.
So I was always reminding people, we did quarterly audits on meetings, what can go, what can be shortened, what should be. added, removed, all of that. And on emails, we would always be asking leaders to like look at your emails that are coming in. Don't allow people to start creeping in that CC field,
Right.
100 times. Or if you as a leader are getting a whole bunch of BCC emails, that means there's a whole lot of distrust going on in that team.
Yes.
And we need to go fix that, because I want is people to go make decisions and just go.
Right. So a high culture of autonomy.
Yeah, of autonomy. And like, if you have been given that autonomy and we told you we trust you and we think you're going to do it, and you still feel like you can't make the decision, then let's help you.
Right.
Most employees, like, they pretty much think they know what they're supposed to go do, waiting for someone to put their dumb rubber stamp on it.
Yeah, you hired them to do a job. You paying them to do it. Let them do it.
Right. And it's okay to draw that circle or that box around their work and say,
boundaries.
Listen, if you feel like you're going outside of these parameters, yes, we should have a conversation. Yes, that's where something's going to need to be thought about. But inside of this world I just hired you to be in and control, go control it. Go do it, please.
I love that concept of shrinking the loop. It also gives me a visual, because if we're not shrinking it to the point you just made, we're growing it. And what ends up happening is we get swallowed up by that loop, and to the point you just made, we work all day, we're in meetings back to back and checking email. And the real work, the work that actually moves the needle, isn't happening, or people are logging off to service their families and then logging back on to try to do the work. And they're really not at their best. And that's when they start to face burnout. Yeah, I like that concept.
Yeah.
Shrink the loop. So the 7 pillars include transparency, positivity, listening, and more. Which of those do you find leaders most underestimate, and why?
Well, they generally are afraid to be transparent. And don't realize how much that's going to solve their problems. Going to solve so many things for them by just giving people the information. So because when people don't know something, when there's a gap in the story, they fill it in with their own past negative experiences, and people don't realize that.
Right.
Positivity is the one that gives them pure joy at work. That's the one that makes you feel good. When you start saying yes and you start calling out people for doing a great job, and like, you're that person, you're that like, it teaches how to be that positive person.
Right.
You don't realize, like, it sucks being the jerk to like constantly call people out and tell them they're doing the wrong thing all the time. That's just not a fun role to be in. I mean, I never enjoyed it. And I've watched leaders and coaches and teachers and people that just always seem positive. And I was like, how do they do that? And then when I learned this framework, I was like, oh, now I get it.
Right.
So I think it's really easy. Now, some of the other pillars that people don't realize that are so powerful, I think mistakes is a big one. There are mistakes and there are errors.
Right.
We don't want people to make errors. Errors come from lack of training, apathy. If you're out drinking all at lunchtime and you come back and get on the forklift and you get in an accident, that's not a mistake. That's an error. Like, that is not cool. We don't do errors. Okay.
Right.
Well, mistakes are, I tried something. I thought I was doing the right thing based on what I knew that seemed like the right idea, and it turned out to be wrong. So again, I gave you the authority to go make decisions. You made the decision. It didn't work out. Now let's come back and let's talk about it. I want to high five you for having the bravery to go and try something. But let's figure out how we can fix it, so when you go back to the client or go back to whatever, it's right now this time.
Right. So that is like high psychological safety. You're creating that culture where you learn. That's when we learn the most.
It's learning. And when you kind of reframe it as let's all go learn together, people are like, oh, okay. But with this one, leaders have to go first.
Yes.
This is sort of like saying, listen, we're all going to walk across the glass that's lit on fire.
Right.
Trust me, you're going to be okay. You better be the one to go first, or no one's going to go, because they're like, no, I've seen this one before. You're going to tell me it's okay to make a mistake, and then you're going to fire me. You're going to write me up. You're going to put me on a PIP. No, it's I'm going to keep showing up as a leader and say, hey guys, look how bad I screwed this one up. And here's what I learned. And here's what we're going to do about it.
Yes.
And you do that a few times and then other people start showing up and saying, or you create meetings and we call them retrospectives, intentional meetings after a project to talk about what didn't work that we learned from.
Yes.
And that creates that safety.
It does.
And so people, because what you don't want is people to be hiding this stuff from you.
Right.
Can you imagine how bad it would be if like half your people knew about all these terrible things happening in your company and no one was brave enough to tell you these things until one day you get sued or like someone gets hurt or like, it's crazy.
Or you have PwC or Deloitte come in and audit you and then you find all these errors that they were afraid to show. That is so true. Well, that's good to hear that mistakes is part of that framework. I love that. You mentioned the word, you mentioned something that triggered a thought for me around courageous conversations. I believe you said that you talk a lot about mastering tough conversations. It's one of the crucial topics that you cover. What's your advice for leaders facing emotionally challenging discussions or dialogues?
Sure. So, probably the easiest thing that you can do is to stop giving feedback. No one likes it. It's negative. And instead, I just need you to make a small, tiny switch, which is feed forward. Now, I learned this from one of my mentors, Marshall Goldsmith. This is his concept. And essentially, let's just say you and I are in a meeting, okay? And Tom is also in the meeting. And Tom keeps talking. He's interrupting you. He's interrupting me. Like, we can't get a word in. And it's like, but I'm Tom's boss, so I got to go have a conversation with Tom. And I could say, hey, Tom, in the last meeting, I'm going to give you some feedback. You kept talking and you wouldn't let us get a word in. And he's going to be defensive and we're going to have a bad exchange. And right. Because Tom can't change the past.
Right.
Whatever happened, whatever's going on with that dude today, he did it. It's over. But if I go to him as his boss and I say, or even if I was just his teammate, this is the same thing. Hey, Tom, in the next meeting, can you make sure we all get a chance to talk?
Yes.
Would you make sure that, you don't interrupt anybody? You let everyone finish their thought before you hop in. Like, that's a small shift.
It is.
And they're like, every time. They're like, oh, yeah, I can do that. And sometimes they might say, and the reason I was so excited is I did this project in my previous company. Like, I know, and they're like, okay. So now I know why you were so excitable, because you've done this before and you really think this is a cool project. That's great and all, but like you and I would like to get a word in, please. So that little shift is a great way to have those hard conversations, to talk about things that are tough or hard or with people that are difficult, that we find a little more difficult to kind of manage or deal with or talk to. Sometimes it's just at the beginning of the meeting, going around the room and having every single person give their feed forward to the rest of the group.
Yes.
Go around. What do you need from everyone here in this meeting and for it to be a success?
Yes.
So if you notice the team is struggling, they can give their feed forward. And it might be, hey, I have a hard time getting my ideas out. Will you let me just finish my thought before you jump in? Like, I struggle if all you guys start jumping in. Like, can you let me get my thought out first? Sure, Sally, we can do that. Like, whatever. It could just be, I feel like I don't really know what I'm doing here. I don't really know why I'm here. I feel underqualified. You all are so smart. Like, someone might be having imposter syndrome. Like, and then I just need you all to give me some, and everyone's like, no, what are you talking about? And so if you just use that feed forward as a group activity too, that's a way to get people to gel together. Because then we're just saying what we need. And if you're the jerk that can't listen to anybody and won't do what they need, then it's pretty obvious what we need to do as leaders, like how we're going to fix that issue.
Yes.
So
I love that little tip. And it's just a slight tweak, like you said, feed forward. The other thing I found effective in these type of scenarios where you feel like it may be an uncomfortable conversation is I like to ask employees, do they have the capacity to have that conversation right now? Because sometimes they may not have the capacity in that moment. And then when they do, they may have on a different lens and they can receive it in the intentions in which you meant it to be. So that's a great tip right there. Yeah. So you talked earlier about the meetings and coming together and say, okay, let's scale these. Are we having too many meetings, or do we have too many emails? How can leaders experiment with culture like reverse mentoring, or no meeting days, or no meeting Fridays, or whatever, without losing, company structure?
Yeah. So structure is fine. Structure is good. People need to know like when they can count on having a meeting or having time and all of that. But we need to make sure that we're not structuring things to just be busy all of the time. That is the bad habit. That's why we're in so many meetings and have so many emails, that people want to feel like they're busy, and if they're busy, they must be being productive, but that's not necessarily true. So we always put as a priority, we wanted people to sprint and rest. And that was intentional. So it's like, I'd rather you sit and do 25 minutes of work and your phone is in a drawer and all your notifications are off, and you're going to really work on this thing really hard and no one can bother you. And then at the end of 25 minutes, you're going to take a 10-minute break. You're going to look at your email, you're going to check your phone. You might go move, because all my employees were remote. You might go move your laundry over or take the dog out. That's cool. And then come back, sit that 25 minutes again and sprint hard. In that 10 minutes, you have time to be bored and to go, oh, that thing I was just working on, now I have a great idea on how I can finish that thing or that project or whatever. If we don't have little moments of boredom, moments of being able to think,
right,
all we're doing is just shuffling papers around,
right,
and we don't even know what the papers say. I mean, that. And so I never wanted my employees to be that way. You could feel it. If we made sure they had those pockets of time, and we were never perfect. And I'm sure there was moments that I'm sure you could ask my employees now, there were moments they feel like they were stressed and they were working all the time. And it was never perfect, but we were trying our best to help them design pockets where they could take moments to rest, moments to think, moments to be innovative and creative and to come up with ideas. And so this is a super long way to tell you, we did not do this generally as a company-wide mandate. We instead asked our teams to come up with what worked best for their team.
Makes sense. Yes.
Because what the sales team wanted,
totally
very different than customer service, very different than, I'll give you an example. Like we did team charters and like our sales team charter was like, go hard. We work whenever we want to work. We're all over the place. There was no boundaries. Email when you want, text me whenever you want. It's cool, man. Like they were all just all over. My customer service team, their team charter was, I'm going to work my butt off from 9 to 5. But as soon as I close my laptop, like it better be like DEFCON 1 if you're going to call me. Like there's when I'm done until the next morning.
Right.
And that was their team charter.
Yes.
So if you got a call or a text from someone on your team, you thought the company probably just blew up. I mean, there was a do not bother me. But they also set up their notifications to be shut off at that time. And everyone knew if I send a note or something, the expectation is no one is expecting me to reply until I'm back in the office.
Right.
They had a very clear thing. And so they would come up with things like no meeting Fridays. They would do things like that where they thought, I really need time on Friday to get caught up, to get reports done, to think, to what. Cool. But the sales team, they were just like, hell's bells, like just they were like happy to just be on fire all of the time, and that was just how they wanted to be. And I mean, culturally, that worked for them. Yeah. Despite our many suggestions, otherwise, they were just oh, it's 11 o'clock. Yeah, I'm up. Let's talk about the sales deal. Yeah, sure. I mean, that's just how they were wired. It was crazy.
But I like that they had the autonomy and the flexibility for their charters to be customized to where they were. meeting people where they were versus the cookie cutter approach across the whole organization is broad
Right.
brush stroke. It doesn't necessarily work. It's not effective. Some other things I've seen people do is like we had a rule where you schedule instead of 30-minute meetings, schedule 25 minutes to give, because we were remote as well, give people that 5 minutes in between meetings to go, take a stretch, walk, bathroom, etc. Yeah, that's a good one as well. So, Chris, any like quick prompts or practices that listeners can adopt to lead culture from wherever they are?
Yeah, I mean, just be really clear about what it is you want from a cultural standpoint. What do people like us do? What are the norms for people? And you see that really who we are and how we act and what are the norms. They're in your meetings.
Yes.
So if your meetings are living up to that standard, you're doing pretty good, and it's probably permeating everywhere else.
Yes.
If your meetings are not doing so good, you don't even want to look under the hood. It's going to be a hot mess.
Right.
Right. Like if you can't even do it well in your meetings, you're in trouble. But you have to be clear. I, as the CEO, I tried to do it on the day that someone was hired. Otherwise, within the first week of them being hired, they were on a call with me for a 30-minute culture presentation.
I was going
I
to
didn't
ask you
leave
that.
it to their boss.
Right.
I'm in charge of culture. This is what I believe. This is who we are. This is how we act. And I'm going to be the one to tell you. So I met every single person we ever hired. I gave them a 30-minute. A lot of times it was multiple people on the call because I got hired on the same time. And I would tell them, if you are seeing, as you go into this company, and if you are seeing things that are not in alignment with this, I want to know. Like, you're helping me. I believe in this strongly. And if anyone in the organization is going against this, or you're seeing practices or things happening, or you're being asked to do things that are not in alignment with this, either there's a misunderstanding and let's get that figured out, or someone's about to get their butt kicked because they're not doing what I want them to do. And I need you to help me do that. And so it was a really nice way. It was like a great way to like constantly be testing, because I would get brand new employees going, just so you know, like, I know you told me to say this and I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but.
Right.
And most of the time it was just the way the leader was presenting it. They needed to kind of change their language. They were coming off as a bit like demanding, or this is the only way. Whereas I'm telling them, like, I want them to figure out the best way for them to do it. And, but so it was really great to kind of check on that. But I mean, I owned it. So maybe if you're listening to this and you like, listen, I am a middle manager. I have 10 people. I'm not in charge of culture.
Right.
I get it. You're in charge of those 10 people.
Right.
And you can make those 10 people probably make their existence and their time with you as close to this is the best job they're ever going to have as possible. That is within your purview. That is within your abilities as that leader.
Yes.
Right. To make that team and that experience and their job amazing.
Yes. I am in awe, first of all, that you took, as the CEO, you took the time to meet with the employees as they come in. Because I was going to ask you, how do you integrate and introduce your culture to new hires before I can ask you? You own it. So you do that. That's pretty amazing. And I love that what it also does is it kind of fosters some accountability. So the employees coming in, they have this expectation based on what you shared. If their expectation based on what you shared doesn't match what they're experiencing, that's another way for you to audit and check in to see, okay, where are we failing? I love that. And the other thing that came to mind was when you talked about the leaders, what they can control within their sphere of influence. I'm very passionate about leadership, and my thought process around it is that being in a leadership role is a big responsibility because you have the power to impact the mental and emotional well-being of employees. Like, I don't want to be the kind of leader that employees dread going to work and, oh man, I got to go to work. and Rhoda's my boss. I want them to want to go to work and excited about going. I get to work with Rhoda, and it sounds like that's the type of culture that you cultivate with your leaders. If someone asks you, Chris, how do you describe what culture even means? Because some people surprisingly don't understand it. How would you describe it?
Culture is the norms and the way in which we get things done.
Yes.
Yeah, it's how we get things done. So do I have to have 9 managers approve something before I can go make a decision? That's culture.
Right.
Am I empowered to go get things done? That's culture.
Yes.
Can I actually say what I'm thinking on my team meeting? That's culture.
Yes.
You can judge your culture based on how people say they're feeling.
Yes.
So that will give you your measurement or your barometer, or whatever you want to call it, of how you're doing. But I don't think culture is actually how it makes people feel. That's just a result of it. So it's all about those little norms. And that's why I think it's easier when you think about it that way to go back and fix it, because you're like, okay, well, which norm do we need to change?
Yes. Yes.
If people don't feel like they can make decisions, what norm is occurring? And is it because we're constantly asking them to prove it to us and to show us 50,000 things? Or, do we have some leader who's like watching Microsoft Teams to try to make sure that are you sitting in front of your desk every single second? Like that's a bad norm. Like, I don't want that,
Yes.
I want to look at output. I want to look at what impact did you have? How did you show up? So I think that's probably the easiest way to think about it.
That's on point with how I would have described it as well. Chris, any parting words you would like to leave with our listeners or viewers?
If anyone would like a list of how to do meetings differently, if you'd like some fun questions to ask your employees, you can text 33777, and the message is just my name, Chris, Chris. And when you send that text message, it'll get you back a little free PDF that will give you some cool ideas.
That is neat. And what's your website, Chris, and how can they connect with you, follow you, support your work, purchase your books, etc.?
So Chris Dyer, DYER.com is my website. All of my social channels are on there, but wherever you're hanging out on TikTok or Instagram or wherever, LinkedIn, I'm happy to connect with you. Look for Chris Dyer with the white glasses, not the psychedelic artist with the dreads. That is not me.
Right.
You can get my book if you're looking for it in English and you're in America or the UK. You can go to Amazon.com or cokeandpage.com. My book just came out in Italian.
Awesome.
So if you are Italian, you can go to Seek, SEAC, and buy it. There's available all around the world, wherever you, I think there's all kinds of different book people that sell my book around the world. Happy to have you grab it. And if you can't find it, wherever you are, let me know and I'll help you find it.
And Chris, what if they wanted to bring you in to speak? You do a lot of speaking.
Yeah, that's the main thing I do these days is speak. So you can go to a website and fill out the form there. You can also reach out to my manager, Shannon Downey, at 6degreespeakers.com. Or if you work with a speakers bureau, if your organization works with one of those, I work with every single speakers bureau out there. So happy to talk. We do virtual keynotes. Especially if you have a little bit of a lower budget, we can do stuff virtually. In-person workshops, key shops, all kinds of fun stuff.
Awesome. Well, Chris, your insights today, they've been incredible, and you're so fun to talk to as well. I love your energy. So Chris has shown us that culture isn't a feel-good appendage. It's leadership in action. It's grounded in clarity, trust, and inclusivity. His insights remind us that when leaders lean into humanity, culture becomes a powerful engine for performance and purpose. So if this episode moved you, take one insight, maybe transparency or bold conversations, and start there. And share this with someone who leads or who will lead. So Chris, thank you for reimagining what culture can become under conscious leadership, and for taking the initiative to create and build this recipe that didn't exist. So we thank you for that. I call this mission work. So we appreciate you. Until next time, I'm Rhoda Banks, and this is Breakthrough Conversations with Rhoda and Company.
Hey, what's your secret? You got the kind of vibe that leaves me speechless. It could be model multitasking genius. Yeah, you got it all. Hey, what's your story? A kick-ass mom and 40 under 40. A soccer practice in your high heel glory. Yeah, you do it all.